Yeah, hi Bobby, this is Michael. I am the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the online TOEFL course, the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT, and you are one of my online students, and you are completing, it looks like, part of lesson 16 for pronunciation, and also pronunciation lesson number 17. So first of all, let's take a look at 16.
Hi.
Now, if I remember correctly, you're going over the J, the J, and the J, like major, measure. And I told you to go over one more exercise one more time so I could give you a little bit more feedback. And you might want to write some of these words in your pronunciation journal so you know the J's okay, right? It's the J, that particular sound.
Michael, this is Bobby.
Hey, Bobby.
Now I am going to record Speak Clearly lesson number 16 once again as per your comments and your suggestion.
All right, now I didn't say the whole thing. I said part of it. I was saying one area. I was hoping you just do this, but let's see.
Contrasting the consonant J hatchet and the Z hatchet.
All right, here we go.
Number 1, major, measure. Number 2, plagiarize, pleasurable. Number 3,
all right,
regions, usually. Number 4, fragile, fraser.
Usually we just say fragile, something that's easily broken.
Number 5, engine, azure.
Azure.
Number 6, engage, beige.
Beige, as in light brown.
Number 7, general, vision. Number 8,
vision.
Leisure. Number 9, legend, legion. Number
lesion.
10, large, amnesia.
Okay.
Listening discrimination exercise. Tertiary, trajectory. Number 2.
I'm going to correct you on this one. Treasury.
Exposure, immersion.
Okay, pretty
Number
good.
3, submerge, hydrogen. Number 4, usual, huge.
I'm going to usual.
Number 5, visual, measurement.
Okay.
Number 6, verge, burgeoning. Number
verge.
7, Malaysia, detergent.
Okay.
Number 8, Asia, aging. Number 9, Indonesian, Gambusia. Number 10, Polynesian, ingenuity.
Okay.
Voice recording exercise 1.
All right.
Number 1. In 1761, John Adams began to think and write and act against British measures that he believed infringed on colonial liberties.
Okay, not
Number
bad.
2. The ingenuity of the Polynesian aging population is that they can introduce outsiders to their culture through total immersion.
Okay.
Number 3. The unusually huge fish caught today does not fit the usual fish caught which has been recorded on the ledgers.
All right.
Number 4. The beige-dust man engaged in fragile conversation with the board of regents.
All right.
Number 5. The legend is that General envisioned a vision military which would execute large measurable commands when the country was on the verge of war.
Pretty close. I'm going to say here verge of war. Okay. Okay, let's go to voice recording number 2.
Voice recording exercise 2.
All right.
Depending on the accuracy of measurements, estimates range from at least 4,000 to 6,000 languages in the world. Either way, this is still quite a large number. Usually, languages vary greatly in size.
Not bad. You're getting better with your V's. Very, very greatly in
We go all
size.
the way from English and Spanish with hundreds of millions of speakers around the world. Even more, if we count all those who use one of these regularly as a second language.
One of these regularly as a second language. So these, these.
Down to small languages spoken by a few thousand or few hundred people.
Okay.
Many go down lower than this. Some languages are spoken natively by only a couple dozen or so people.
Okay.
Verging on extinction, languages like this may go down to a single speaker.
Not bad. Now, when you get to this word here, you have, it's not this, but it's languages like this, this. This may go down to a single speaker. So you're getting there. I'm not going to say you're perfect with the measure, but you're getting better. But just remember that this is one of the sounds that you have to pay more attention to. You want to practice a little bit more in your free time. All right, let's go to Speak Clearly lesson number 17.
Hi Michael, this is Bobby.
Hey Bobby.
Now I'm going to post Speak Clearly lesson number 17. Practice exercise for the game versus game consonant.
So the K and the G. All right, let me find that one for just a minute. Here we go. Let me go back to the beginning here. Okay, here we go. Got it. Okay, here we go.
Number 1, cake, keg. Number 2, sink, sag.
Exactly. You're catching on because the G is a voiced consonant. It makes the vowel before it longer. So you did that. You said sink, sag, cake, keg. You're doing it. It's good. Good observation.
Number 3, lake, lag.
Exactly.
Number 4, take, tag.
Yes.
Number 5, caught, got.
No, coat. Oh, make it longer. Coat, coat, goat. Both of these are pretty much with the same length because it is a long coat, goat.
Number 6, came, game.
Okay, good.
Number 7, car, gar.
All right.
Number 8, Kate, gate. Number 9, cap, gap. Number 10, cause, goes.
Okay, here you don't want to say number 10, number 10. Number 10, 10, 10, 2, 10, 22. You got to pronounce that T with more air so it doesn't sound like a D, because if you say den or you say 10, you've now said two totally different words in English.
Voice recording exercise 1.
All right, here we go.
Astronomer Michael O'Ham will lead a team that is planning to find out what's inside Comet Temple 1 by smashing into it with a 771-pound copper hammer, the biggest they could loft into space.
No, this is terrible. No, you got too many pauses, hesitations. Let's read this one together. Astronomer Michael Ahern will lead a team that's planning to find out what's inside Comet Temple 1 by smashing into it with a 771-pound copper hammer, the biggest they could loft into space.
Number 2. The king is going to get crazy when he finds out that the corn he has guarded is all gone.
Pretty good on your pacing.
Number 3. Counting all gases in the universe during the course of one's lifetime can take a number as high as Google.
Now in this case you said like counting. That's okay. When the T's in the middle of a word, you don't usually have to pronounce it as distinctly. For example, as in the word top, take, temple. In this case, you did pronounce it correctly. Counting.
Number 4. To engage in regulating correct conformity is good, but can often lead to suggestive, creative, and negative aggression.
Now let's take a look at this word here. You said more regulating. I'm going to say regulating. So let's read this sentence again. To engage in regulating correct conformity is good, but can often lead to suggestive, creative, and negative aggression. Remember, when you have like A, then you have point B, and then point C. The tone here needs to be rising to suggestive, creative, and negative aggression. That's when you drop the tone. When you're at that third item, the tone should fall there. So you're more flat. Your tone is a little bit monotonous when you're reading those things. Even with phone numbers. If I said this, Bob, you go, my phone number is area code 760-946-3311. You see what I'm saying? So my tone will kind of change depending on what number I'm on. Okay, hold on a minute. I don't know why I just did that. Clicked on the wrong button here. Let me go back to lesson 17.
Classical conditioning is Let me start over. Classical conditioning is a form of learning in which two stimuli
Okay, I see where you are.
Let me start over. Aggression. Number 5. The consequences of aggressive crime gives criminals punishment mentioned in some magazines so severe that they may never work
No. When you say so severe, you don't want to pause after that. You want to pause after severe. So severe that they may never work in normal society again, because this becomes a separate thought group here, because it's introducing what's called a noun clause, and that particular grammar is different from the previous grammar. Actually, it's part of an adverb clause. I apologize. But you have so severe that they may never work in normal society again. So let's read this one again. You remember now, when we get into thought groups and blending, you'll be studying this when you get to lesson 41 in the pronunciation area of my course. There's no quick fix on this. Everybody has their own style, but the way that you read it, it wouldn't work. So repeat with me here. The consequences of aggressive crime gives criminals punishments mentioned in some magazines so severe that they may never work in normal society again. All right?
Normal society again. Voice recording exercise 2. Classical conditioning is... Let me start over.
All right.
Classical conditioning is a form of learning in which two stimuli are associated so that the first evokes the response that normally follows the second.
Okay.
The first studies done with classical conditioning were performed by Ivan Pavlov, a Russian physiologist.
All right.
Pavlov noticed that the dogs in his laboratory salivated not only when they ate their food, but also before they had taken a bite. Pavlov discovered that if he rang a bell before he let the dogs eat, eventually the dogs would start salivating as soon as they heard the bell. As soon as the dog heard the bell, they began to act like a dog about to be fed.
Okay, so you had a little bit of trouble with this word, and it might be because you might not understand the grammar, but notice here you got Pavlov as your subject, then discovered that if he rang a bell before he let, this is actually past tense, before he let the dogs, normally you would use an infinitive, he let the dogs to eat, but when you're using words like let or make, instead of using the infinitive, you should use the base form of the verb there. You might want to write that down. Again, with words like make or let, you don't use an infinitive directly after those verbs. You want to use the base form of the verb. Okay, so now let's read it together. I'm going to say you're fine with the K and the G sounds. You don't have any major problems here. You understand how to pronounce these sounds effectively. Classical conditioning is a form of learning in which two stimuli are associated so that the first evokes a response that normally follows the second. The first studies done with classical conditioning were performed by Ivan Pavlov, a Russian physiologist. Pavlov noticed that the dogs in his laboratory salivated not only when they ate their food, but also before they had taken a bite. Pavlov discovered that if he rang a bell before he let the dogs eat, eventually the dogs would start salivating as soon as they heard the bell. As soon as the dogs heard the bell, they began to act like a dog about to be fed. All right, Bobby, that's a wrap.